For today's class, we will be talking about sensation and perception. So I would like to ask if anyone has ever seen the movie The Matrix. Has anyone ever seen this movie before? Okay, it's a relatively old movie, okay? It was quite popular when I was your age. And the main character in this movie is this man. His name is Neo, okay? And in one part of the movie, Neo is asked a question by this man, another main character. His name is Morpheus. Okay, so Morpheus asks Neo, what is real? How do you define real? So I would like to ask everyone this question too, all right? And we're not trying to get philosophical or anything, all right? Just based on your own experience, how do you know or how do you make sure something is real? Okay, so think about that for a minute. And then I would like some of you to volunteer with your answer. Yes. If it's backed by science. And why is that important? If there is research, okay. So if there is scientific research proving that something is real, then it's real. Okay, that's a good answer, yeah. What's another answer? Yes. If you can experience it, what do you mean by that? Ah, very good. So if you can see it or if you can touch it, then it's real. Okay. All right, so that's exactly what we're getting to for this lesson, actually. Okay. So the question that Morpheus asks, it was a rhetorical question. Okay, because Neo doesn't provide an answer. Morpheus then goes on to say, all right, that if you're talking about what you can hear, what you can smell, taste, and feel, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Okay. And we know this is true because we studied the biological basis of behavior in the last unit. We know that a lot of our experiences are possible because of neural communication. All of the cells in our nervous system are transmitting electrical signals, and that allows us to have these experiences. It allows us to see and smell and listen and touch. Okay? So all of these experiences are called sensations, right? And this is going to lead us to the target objectives for today. We're going to first define what sensation is, and then we'll also connect it to another very important concept for today, which is perception. And how do these two relate? Okay? We're then going to get into a bit more detail and look at two ways in which sensation and perception could relate. All right? We're going to first describe what bottom-up and top-down processing are, and then we're going to demonstrate how each of them works. Okay? Let's begin with our definition of sensation. Okay, this is the official definition, which is the process by which our sensory receptors and nervous system receive and represent stimulus energies from our environment. Right? Anytime some kind of stimulus reaches our body, okay, it comes in the form of energy, waves, okay? And our amazing nervous system converts these waves into electrical signals, which are then interpreted by our brain, as Morpheus states, right? But the important part here is that these electrical signals allow us to have actual life experiences, the experience of seeing something or feeling something or tasting something, okay? That is sensation. Now, it's very important, but what's related to sensation, which adds more depth and more color to our experience, is how we perceive these sensations. Okay? Perception is the process of organizing and interpreting sensory information, enabling us to recognize meaningful objects and events. Okay? So a sensation is just a sensation, right? It comes and it goes. But how we attach meaning to these sensations, okay, ultimately creates more depth, a stronger life experience, if you will. Okay? So imagine this. Let's say you're just minding your own business somewhere, okay, and all of a sudden you feel someone's hand touch yours. Okay? So you turn around and you see who it is. Now, by nature, this is just a sensation, right? You experienced a touch, and then you turn around and you experienced a sight, a vision of someone, okay? And that's very objective. It's how we perceive these sensations that ultimately affects us here, right? It gives more meaning. So maybe it's a friend who wants your attention, or maybe it's someone who accidentally touched you, okay? Or maybe it's someone who you like, who is trying to tell you that they like you too, right? Any of these perceptions ultimately affects us here, right? So sensation and perception come together, and it's very important to understand how they may relate with each other, okay? So this is going to lead us to our next target objective, which is bottom-up and top-down processing. And we'll look at bottom-up processing first. So let's first define what bottom-up processing is. Okay? This is when we analyze sensory information as it comes into our bodies, okay? And we integrate it into higher and higher levels of cognitive processing. In other words, we rely on sensory information. For example, I see something, okay? I integrate it, and I'm able to perceive. Okay, I'm able to make a conclusion. Okay? So let's use this very simple demonstration called What's in the Bag? All right? I have here a bag, and I'm going to put something inside the bag. Okay? So you can't see what's inside the bag, but I would like someone to come up and just put your hand in the bag and try to guess what this object is, relying on your senses. Okay, so come on up. Okay, so put your hand in the bag. So can you describe what you feel? All right, it's hard. Anything else? Okay, it's small. Anything else? What kind of material could it be? Metal. Okay, so try to guess what it is. Keys, exactly. Right, they're keys. So, do we see how bottom-up processing works here? Okay, we take our simple stimuli, okay, sensory stimuli, and we reach some kind of conclusion. Okay, we now perceive that these are keys. Okay, so let's do a more complex demonstration. I'm going to show everyone a series of pictures. All right, and I want you to follow these instructions for each picture. Okay, number one, simply describe what you see. Okay, what are the shapes? What are the colors? Are there people? Are there animals? Are there objects or structures? Okay, just describe what you see. And step two, we're going to develop some kind of meaning or perception. What do you think is happening in the picture? Okay, what does it mean? All right. And in step three, expand on this meaning. After you've reached a perception, okay, how does this relate to your own life? All right. And how does it relate to your value system. So what do I mean by value system? I mean your principles. What you think is right and wrong, what you should do and shouldn't do, okay? And when we're talking about your values, all right, how do they influence or direct your future actions? Okay, so notice that these steps follow a sequence. We're starting with something very basic. Just describe what you see. Visual stimuli, right? And then move on. What meaning does it have? And then develop that meaning even more, okay? This is a process that we can see in bottom-up processing. So let's go over this first picture together, okay? And I would like you to just say your answer as it comes to you, okay? Starting with this first picture, what do you see here? What do you see? Yes, you see people, okay? What else? You see red. Yes, there's a lot of red in the picture. Anything else? White, okay? Okay. All right, so let's move on. What do you think is happening in this picture? Yes. They're enjoying their time together, okay? Anything else? Maybe they're on vacation, all right? How do you think these people know each other? Yes. They're family, okay? Maybe they're family, all right? So now we have an important perception of family, okay? So let's move on to step 3. How do you relate to family in your own life? And how does family relate to your value system? Yes? Families take care of each other. Very good. Okay? What else? Yes. You should love your family. Okay? All right? So now we have the values of family. Okay? And how would this value affect or direct your future behavior? Yes. Exactly. We should take care of our families. Okay? All right, so do we see how this works? We start from basic visual stimuli and we've moved up until we've reached some kind of meaningful perception, right? We should take care of our families. I'm going to take care of my family. All right? So let's look at the next picture. What do you see here? Yes, just basically, yes. Okay, you see blue, yes. You see people, all right. You see a lot of black, okay. What do you think is happening here? Yes. Yeah, they're graduating, right? They're graduating. Okay, so in step 3, how does graduation relate to your own life and your own value system? Yes? Yes, you will be graduating soon. Okay? What else? Yes? That high school is almost over. Okay? Anything else? Yes. Excellent. Academics is important. Okay? Studying is important if you want to graduate, right? So now we have a value, right? Academics is important. Studying is important. How does this direct your future actions? Yes. Very good. We should study more, study harder. Okay? Next, we're going to describe top-down processing. Okay? This is when we form perceptions starting with higher level cognitive processes. For example, past experiences, pre-existing knowledge and beliefs and ideas, context, etc. Okay? And we rely on these higher level processes to form perceptions. Okay? Even when there could be sensory information that is missing, we're still able to form perceptions because of our past experiences, our past beliefs. Okay? So let me give you an example. What do you see here? Okay? You see a cube, right? So what's missing from the cube? Right, lines are missing from the cube. Okay, so how can we still perceive a cube even though lines are missing? Right? Because we already have some kind of idea, some pre-existing knowledge of what a cube looks like. So even when there are missing stimuli, we can still perceive this cube. Blindfold activity. All right? So imagine what life would be like if you became blind. All right? So to demonstrate this, we're going to take a face mask, all right, and we're going to put it over our eyes, okay? We'll have someone come up and do this, and you will be instructed, once you have this on, to walk somewhere on campus, okay? And you're going to rely on what you know of campus in order to do so. Okay, so can we have some volunteers? Yes, come on up.
There you go, okay. Okay.
Okay, so now that the activity is finished, I want you to consider these questions. Number one, what sensory stimuli was missing? Yes, exactly. Sight. You couldn't see anything. Okay? And how did we rely on top-down processing to get around? Yes. We know our school, right? We know where everything is or should be. Okay? Yes? Exactly. You have an image in your mind of what everything looks like, right? So these are past experiences that we rely on to perceive, even when there is no sensory stimuli that we can rely on. We can still perceive where we could be, right? I'm in the classroom, I'm in the hallway, or I'm on the grass somewhere, right? Okay, very good. So this is an example. So we use this to demonstrate top-down processing. Okay? All right, so in this last part, we'll see how top-down processing and bottom-up processing often work together, okay, in order to achieve some perception. All right? So I'm going to show you a video. All right, this is called the Talking Dogs video.
Love Mama? Who? I love Mama. I love Mama. That's right.
So, what sensory stimuli were we presented with in this video? Yes. Sound. Okay. What else? Sight. Okay, very good. We heard the dogs, right? We saw the dogs. Okay. And how did we rely on top-down processing to reach perception? Okay, what past experiences or knowledge did we rely on to reach perception? Yes. Okay, right? We know what words sound like. Okay? So when the dog was saying, for example, I love you, right? It wasn't clear, but we've heard those words before. We were able to connect that sensory stimuli coming from the bottom up, okay, and relate it to our past experiences of hearing I love you, and then we heard I love you, right? We've reached some perception. Okay, so top-down processing and bottom-up processing, they often work together, okay? And we rely on them in daily life. But sometimes it can lead to confusion, all right? Let's look at this picture, okay? I would like you to say the color, but not the word. All right, go ahead. Okay, so does it get harder? Yes, right? It gets harder. Why? Why do you think? So what sensory stimuli are we presented with? Okay, we see the actual colors, right? And we also see the words. Okay, we see the letters. Okay, so when it comes to bottom up, we identify these colors, right? And we can say what it is. Now, from the top down, if we look at these words, we can say we have past experiences with these words, right? I know what these words mean. I've read them before. So when I see things that I've had experience in, it's very natural for me to focus on those things, right? So in the third line, I would say blue instead of saying green, right? I would say purple instead of saying red, okay? Notice that there's some confusion when my top-down processing, okay, tries to affect my perception, all right? Look at this next picture. What do you see here? How many of you see an old man? Yes, all of you. Okay. How many of you see a few different people? Ah, okay. See, now you see that too. So we all have past experiences with facial features, right? We're all naturally attracted to faces. Okay. So this top-down processing that occurs, we have our past experiences with faces. We're naturally going to identify a face, right? But if we look at the bottom up, if we look at the visual stimuli, we'll see that, okay, these are actually three different people, and this is an arch and some trees in the sky. There's actually no face, even though we may perceive a face. Okay, so we're reaching the end of our class today. Just to go over our objectives again, we've defined what sensation and perception are, okay? And we've looked at two ways how sensation and perception work together. From the bottom up, meaning we start with sensory stimuli and we reach higher levels of perception, or from the top down, when we start with our various cognitive processes, our experiences and knowledge, and we reach some kind of perception. Okay? All right, does anyone have any questions?